Hi, I'm Rachel Whitefield, certified life coach, and with me is our resident karmic queen, Jackie Black. Thank you for joining us on another fabulous episode of Whiskey Bent
Spellbound with Black.
and Whitefield.
Yeah, Rachel, let's talk about what we're drinking right off the bat.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Jackie. We are twinsies today. I know
Little
we're
rest.
drinking Uncle Nearest 1856 premium whiskey, throwing it back to one of our originals from the first days early on the show. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I know that's right. It has become very quickly my favorite whiskey
Yes,
drink.
yes. And in this, not to get political, but this political climate, I will. It's getting rid of DEI, but this is a very diverse, woman-owned, black-owned, small business whiskey brand, and we are happy to showcase them on our podcast.
And quite frankly, I'm one of those super woke people just trying to focus all my money on the Black community.
Right?
So
We're
I'm
here
trying to
for
just give
it.
it to all Black women, quite frankly. That's
Yes.
that's where I'm at. I don't care. So
Uncle
I'm doing
Nearest.
something different this
Mhm.
time. Do you have ice molds you want to talk about?
I
Do you have
do have ice molds as well. Speaking of throwbacks, I haven't used these on the show very much. We are back to the dun 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 bat signal.
Oh, I love the bat signal.
Bat signal with the fancy sprinkles moonstone on top.
Love it.
So
So
pretty.
pretty. So
It's
pretty.
the prettiest little bat signal around.
Well, it is snowing here in the great state of Virginia. And so, because of that, it is 12 degrees or something outside. It's too cold.
Too
It's
cold.
window weather. So, I didn't want to drink cold whiskey. I have made myself a hot cup of tea and I'm adding it to my tea for a little hot toddy action. I already got the lemon in there. It is warming and it just goes right to the soul. So
I'm drinking out of my Denver cup today.
nice.
It is cold here, but I've given up all hope. Ye who went here into Colorado. I woke up, it was 2 degrees today, and I'm like, just I've been so cold all the time that I'm just like, I I acquiesce. Like there's nothing I can do
I
about it
get
now.
I give it up.
I
Whatever. I
give
guess
up. Yeah. So I'm just, more whiskey. More whiskey. I'm just cold all the
absolutely.
time. I'm just gonna be cold all the time.
It's fine.
It's fine. You actually
Fine.
brought up the hot
Well,
toddy idea after I made the ice mold, so I was like,
that's
oh,
true.
I'm
I did.
stuck.
I did. I couldn't help it. I needed a hot toddy in my life when it is this cold. In my cute little favorite cup. Don't we love it?
And the snakes, the sparkle snakes.
Yes, we
Oh,
love it. We love
snake.
it. Well, clinkies.
Clinkies, thank you. Cheers, Uncle Nearest. Cheers, us. Mm.
Oh, that is tasty. I think I just dipped my hair into it.
It's
Fantastic.
fine. It's just a little leftover for later.
Little protein in my drink.
It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess we should get to it
Yes.
and we'll talk about what we're going to talk about today, breaking cycles and understanding karmic loops, karmic cycles. And we decided to talk about this because I have noticed that I'm going through a karmic cycle, or I felt like I was going through some kind of karmic cycle this year.
Yeah, and when we were in pre-production, you were talking to me about this, and so you've explained it to me, but can you explain to our listeners who are like me that,
Yeah.
you open my eyes to tarot and, astrology, and can you explain to our listeners and me once again what exactly, in your words, is a karmic cycle?
Yeah. So, from my purview, I feel like our lives really are balanced out. They're balanced out by good events and bad events, stressful events and happy events, and
Mhm.
prosperous events. Karmic cycles are repeating patterns, really, that you have as far as like in life experiences, relationships, or maybe even behaviors that stem from actions from the past, whether it's like your lifetime or according to your spiritual beliefs, maybe even past lives. So these cycles really can be super challenging, but they can also be life changing when you recognize what is happening and what cycle you're in. So we're going to kind of talk about that and dive a little bit deeper. They're the way, let's talk about how they work, I guess. So karma is the idea that you get back what you put out into the world through actions, through thoughts, through energy. Everything is going to come back. Everything is going to balance. And those cycles, you can recognize them as patterns really in your life. I really have seen how karmic cycles bring really important lessons that you are required to learn. And if you do not learn them the first time, that karmic cycle is going to come back. It's going to come back in toxic relationships. It's going to come back in financial hardship. It's going to come back in self sabotage. It's something that I am only now at 42 years old coming to terms with, grasping, as far as making sure I learn those lessons of this time. It's going to keep happening, and I'm recognizing that now. The repetition is going to happen until you learn that lesson. The cycle will repeat. It'll be in different forms, so you won't recognize it right away. But really, it's like an example would be like meeting an emotionally unavailable partner every single time and feeling stuck in your career every single time. So that once you're able to recognize the karmic cycle, you're able to really focus more on the growth aspect of it. So like, have you felt in any point in your life like, oh, I've fucking been here before. I feel like I didn't learn this lesson last time.
I always feel like the universe when you say, "Hey, I'm going to like we have said in the past, like, oh, I'm going to decenter men." And then just a brand new, very handsome man pops up. And then we're like, okay, do we really want to decenter them or just this one? You know, it's like, I feel like the universe, when you say this is something I want to do, whether like in the past, hey, I want to take my fitness more serious. It's like, hey, there's a party over here. Like, are you sure you want to go and do that and cut this out? Or, what have you? So it's always like, I feel the universe has always given me the thing to kind of tempt me back over just to make sure that I am serious about it.
Right.
Does that make
Right.
sense?
That's
Yeah. Mhm.
that is actually exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
You'll experience deja vu situations. So a deja vu situation that I obviously go through is choosing emotionally unavailable partners or partners that are inherently narcissistic and self-centered. I sort of attract it. I don't know what it is. And I don't know how to navigate away from that, and I've learned over the past year that how to separate myself from it. But what I haven't learned throughout these cycles is why I keep attracting that,
Mm-hmm.
you know? You might feel like you're stuck despite your best efforts to change. That's very recognizable to me. I like you just said, wanted to decenter men.
Look at
Handsome
you now.
pop up into my life, and now I'm in
Someone
a
just
relationship.
slides into the DMs.
Literally. So, really, to recognize that you're in a karmic loop, pay close attention to patterns that emerge right around your birthday. It's an interesting trick, interesting piece of advice. And we'll get into it in just a little bit about why the birthday is so important.
Okay, because I
If
got
you're
one coming up.
experiencing, yeah. Similar to emotional shifts usually happen around the same time every year. Relationship dynamics typically have an annual cycle that occurs between partners, and it's likely that those keep happening because lessons have to be learned. There has to be a resolution.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, you, as long as you're moving forward in how you're handling those cycles, once you've identified them, you'll be able to get really out of them. But you might discover that you're going through a cycle because you have really, really familiar and or disproportionate emotional reactions to specific events or even certain times of the year that you might need to get through. So these karmic cycles might not necessarily be super emotional and tragic or eventful or traumatizing. It could just be working through something that makes you uncomfortable or that you need to just learn that lesson on how to deal with those uncomfortable emotions during those events.
Mm-hmm.
um it is gonna you were on the right track when you talked about how you wanted to make a decision and you wanted to go towards a certain goal, and sometimes it feels like the universe, God, our environment will pull us back into those situations and make you feel a little bit stuck. That might be because you're super comfortable dealing with that cycle
Mm-hmm.
over and over again. And breaking away from it is going to be very, very uncomfortable. But once you start getting uncomfortable, that's where the growth really lies. So let's talk about breaking away from these karmic cycles. So we can really talk about like how like they make you feel negatively, but you can redirect that energy
Mm-hmm.
towards self-awareness and reflection. So as soon as you're feeling like this is happening all over again, I'll give a good example.
Mm-hmm.
Credit card debt. Some people struggle with having credit cards. One thing that I've noticed about myself is that I'll pay them off and then I'll run them all the way back up again. And it's a self-sabotage. That's not how they work. I'm I'm fully aware that you should pay them off every month.
Mm-hmm.
But because I've been in this almost financial karmic cycle, that happens pretty much annually or every couple of years. I'll have
Mm-hmm.
them nice and run up and they'll stress me out.
Mm-hmm.
And you just cause yourself more stress than needs to be had. I noticed myself going through this year. So I started journaling about my financial practices. What am I spending? Where am I spending my money? And how am I feeling when I'm spending that money? So journaling prompts are really good. I know if you're like in therapy or even Chat GPT, let me tell you, Chat GPT will give you some amazing journaling prompts to get through whatever karmic cycle you are going through. And that's actually where I got some of those prompts for like my financial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, another great way to break karmic cycles is just meditating. Meditating is fucking hard. It is a practice.
It is.
But
And if I may take a moment, I don't know, it's like when I'm trying to move through something and it feels icky or it feels uncomfortable because I'm not used to it. It's like, I think we are doing similar practices. We just call it different things because you would call it meditation. And I'm just, am like, sometimes you just got to sit in the shit is what I call it. Like, why am
yeah,
I uncomfortable with this feeling?
yeah,
You know? So
yeah,
I could always say, oh, I'm never good at meditating, but also it's like I am self-reflecting in the moment of why I'm struggling with that thing.
yeah,
So for anyone out there that might, feel like these karmic cycles might be a little too woo-woo for them, I'm like, oh, I just call this like therapy work and like working through your blockers,
hmm,
and like there's crossovers in life coaching as well, of course, So it's just really like, oh yeah, of course you're gonna get this same lesson until you learn it. And then you're gonna be so elevated eventually that you're like, this can't touch me anymore because
yeah,
I'm all out of fucks to give on this one,
yeah,
in a healthy
yeah,
way. So
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think meditation is actually super important. Like as far as like sitting in the shit, I mean taking it a step further and
Mhm.
clearing your mind of all of your stress for 5 minutes and thinking about nothing in just a clear mindset.
Mhm.
Sometimes when you're able to do that, not even sometimes. This will happen eventually. After 5 minutes of having your mind completely clear, if you're seeking an answer to something and you are able to do a full 5 minutes of meditation, often that answer will come to you once you come out of meditation. The better you are at it, at your practice, the more answers you will have, the more opportunities you'll have to solve these karmic cycles than if you didn't. It's super important to allow your brain, both sides of your brain, to connect during a meditation practice so that you're able to really grasp what that lesson is. Even if you're not consciously grasping it, you are subconsciously grasping it, and you're redirecting your energy towards the solution that you need to end that karmic cycle or to learn that lesson. This is so freaking hard to learn. Okay.
Yeah.
So earlier we talked about birthdays.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Birthdays are super important when it comes to karmic cycles because of numerology. We all know that numbers are super important in our lives. They do mean something. They do have an energy. They aren't everything has an energy, and each number has its own vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And the karmic cycles are directly related to your birthday. So what I did was I calculated our numerology symbols. And don't worry, listeners, I have actually I've done it for all symbols. So I'm gonna or all astrological signs. So I'm gonna read those off in just a minute. But I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about our karmic cycle years. So
Okay.
in order to calculate your numerology for this year, you want to calculate your birth month. So January is 1, December is 12,
Okay.
plus the birthday, plus this year, 2025. And
Mm-hmm.
that will determine what karmic year you are in. So your karmic year, your birthday is April 9th.
Correct.
So your personal year has calculated to 22.
Okay.
22 is symbolic for your love life and your career. So you're in karmic cycle year 22. And we love that because when we were 22, we were fabulous. So let's go
Absolutely.
back. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So as far as your love life, we all know that you experienced a little bit of a breakup, but this year is about being purposeful in directing your love.
Okay.
Okay.
I can dig that.
Because you're single, you may be attracting this year a long-term partner. Or, or you will learn specifically the life lesson that you need to attract that life partner. So be very, very aware of where you are personally in your love life when you're talking to the next gentleman who's trying to, woo you.
To court me.
Yeah, quote. As far as your career, this is a huge, huge, huge year for your career.
Yeah.
This is about long-term success. So start making your 5-10 year goals. Where do you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you just started this job, but this is
Yeah.
also about your passion project too. So
Yeah.
be super open to what opportunities might be coming to you this year, but stay disciplined in keeping your work life balance because you will burn yourself out if you're too focused on this. And
Yeah.
I already know you. You are the most Aries work person I've ever met in my literal life.
Yeah. I'll just say, yeah, I could take on more. And then I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
I went
Yeah.
from 0 jobs to 3 jobs. I'm like, what the fuck am
It,
I doing?
yeah, it's literally
I love them
insane.
all. How am I supposed to say no? And
Yeah.
balance a potential new wooer? I don't
New wooer.
know. That person does
So,
not exist yet in my life. So,
well, they're on their way apparently to this karmic cycle. So, let's see. They've named this year for you the Master Builder year.
Oh, okay.
The challenge you are going to face this year is perfectionism, Rachel. You're never going to get it perfect. Just do the best because that's going to be perfect.
I will say that is definitely a lesson that I have been learning to know that progress is as close as you're going to get. Perfection does not exist.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like let's aim for better progress.
Yeah.
Perfection. Yeah.
Right. So that's your year. And you're an Aries. So
And
that's Aries's year.
yeah.
So now we're going to do Capricorns. This is my year. And this actually makes me super nervous because I did just jump into a relationship. And this is saying that I should be expecting super unexpected shifts and opportunities personal for personal growth, but it's about breaking free from limitations and embracing spontaneity. Now, that feels like my year last year. So now I feel like I want to like look up what last year's karmic cycle was
Ooh.
so that I can kind of juxtapose the two and figure out like where am I? Because I have been feeling like this is a really, really hard year as far as like so far. It's been pretty challenging.
Hmm.
Um, for my love life, I just looked up love and career for both of us. I feel like that's women really care about all of those two specifically. So the
That's
most,
that's really all I got going for me.
man, that's really all I got going for me too. So as uh my love life, this says this year is about excitement, new experiences, and unexpected changes. And that because I'm in a relationship, I might experience restlessness or a desire for independence. And we are long distance. So I don't know how much more independent I can get, but I'm really hoping that the solution here is continual communication.
Yeah.
And I just got to deal with what's thrown my way. As far
Mhm.
as my career opportunities, maybe a career change. We both know I've been looking into that a lot lately. There
Mhm.
might be new roles, new industries, and it is a good year to start a side hustle, which I've been talking about for quite some time. However, I'm a Capricorn, right? So I'm a workaholic and I'm really scared of instability. This says, even if that opportunity is presented, be aware and avoid reckless job moves, career changes.
Mhm.
So that I'm like, wait, what? What? Really, I got to be doing my research on what's going to happen. And or the maybe like a company possibly offers me a job, whatever. I got to make sure not to be just to jump into shit.
Yeah.
So that those are ours. As far as the rest of the astrological signs, Taurus, this is about flexibility and self-worth this year. Let go of your material attachment, stop changing to outdated relationships and comfort zones, and trust that these changes are going to bring abundance. Value that lesson. Geminis, this is about focusing on your authenticity. Okay, focus on your truth, your really, really important commitments. Don't let energy or gossip or deep emotional truths get in your way. That's what's going to try to block you. Just align your words with your actions and then just fully commit to your goals. Cancers, this is about boundaries and emotional strength. You got to learn how to balance and receive without over sacrificing. You guys are so freaking emotional, cancers. We already know that. So try to not let toxic relationships or codependency stop you from setting your boundaries and prioritizing your self-care, cancers. I have so many cancers in my life. You guys are so emotional. Leos, this is about lessons of ego versus your true leadership abilities. So understand how your leadership abilities can balance your self-confidence with your humility. So be balanced out there, Leos. You're going to be tested by power struggles and by ego-driven decisions. So make sure that you're leading with a heart this year and let go of the need to always be the star, please, for Christ's sake. And that one is specifically for my sister. Virgos, we got a lesson in surrendering and perfectionism. You got to learn how to trust the process and stop being controlling. Let go of your anxiety over imperfection and criticism of yourself and others. This year, you want to accept that growth comes with that imperfection, and you got to allow yourself to just chill out and go with the flow. Libras, we got a karmic lesson in decision making and self assertion. You guys got to start speaking up, set your boundaries, make your decisions instead of people pleasing, Libras. You are dealing with this year indecisiveness and sacrificing yourself. Don't sacrifice your personal needs. Own your choices, trust your gut, and prioritize yourself first. Scorpios, here we go. You are learning about trust and transformation. Okay. Let go of control and fear. Trusting the universe and personal transformation is going to win you your goals this year. Okay. You're going to have power struggles. You're going to have revenge cycles. And worst of all, you guys are going to hold on to past wounds that is going to stop your growth. Let it go. Let it go. Let those wounds go. Those were lessons. Be grateful for them. Embrace the healing. Release the resentment and trust that's what is meant to you, meant for you will come to you. Mm-hmm. We got Sagittarius next. You guys got lessons in commitment and responsibility. You need to balance your freedom with your accountability and learn that commitment does not mean you have to restrict yourself from anything. Your test is going to be running from those responsibilities and avoiding deep emotional connections. Knock that shit off. Stay grounded. Take your commitments seriously and see your projects through to completion. That's going to be a test for those Sagittarius this year, but you guys got it. We've talked about Capricorn already, but so let's skip over and go to Aquarius. You guys are going to deal with emotional death and authenticity. Okay. Mm-hmm. You guys got to embrace your emotional connection and vulnerability rather than detaching from the situation. And if I've ever met an Aquarius, I know that y'all are good as fuck at detaching. Knock it off. The test this year is going to be you avoiding those deep emotions. Stop it. Stop with the rebelliousness without any kind of fucking purpose, and stop struggling with commitment. Open your heart, engage in the deep connections, and trust your gut, trust your feelings. You know who you can trust with those emotions and those connections. Pisces is the last but not least. Pisces, your karmic lesson is in boundaries and spiritual discernment. Your karmic cycle is learning to protect your energy and distinguish between intuition and illusion. You guys, you're going to be tested with being too trusting. Knock that shit off. Don't trust. If your gut tells you not to trust somebody, don't trust them. But then also try not to absorb other people's emotions as if their own. It'll affect your focus. It'll pull you off the path of your goal. Make sure you're setting those clear boundaries, sticking to them, trusting your inner wisdom, and freaking stay grounded. This is the age of Aquarius. Pisces needs to be staying grounded through this entire year. All right. So how do we work with these karmic cycles with your sign? Mm-hmm. Recognize what keeps repeating around your birthday. Break your cycles by owning your past mistakes, mm-hmm. understanding them, being grateful for them, and then think about what is pushing you to be your higher self. Are you uncomfortable in your life right now? What's the lesson? What is it? If you're uncomfortable, you're learning a lesson. Don't let it escape you because you're going to keep freaking experiencing. What's meant for you will not pass you by. You have to learn those lessons.
Growth is uncomfortable.
Growth is
But
uncomfy
you
as
have to go through it.
you have to. Because if you don't, literally, you're just going to keep being made uncomfortable.
Hmm.
I've been divorced 3 times, you guys. I am proof. Proof is in the pudding. I've learned lessons. We aren't going there again.
Mm-mm.
So,
No,
how do you feel
ma'am.
about that? Now, how do you feel about karmic cycles?
Um, yes, thank you. So, I learned so because Max, I'm not really into astrology, so it's just there's a lot to learn for me. But again, like the way I identify with it is like, oh, you potato, is kind of how potato tomato kind of is how I feel on this. Like, you might call it one thing, but I was like, oh yeah, like you breaking karmic cycles is uncomfortable. I was like, yeah, growth is uncomfortable,
Yeah.
or ever all these things. So I think we might call it different things, but I think this is a situation where all roads lead to Rome.
Yeah, absolutely. Recognize what you've been through multiple times. If
Yeah.
you have said, why is this happening to me again? It's
Yeah.
because you're in a karmic cycle, learning a karmic lesson. Analyze it. If you're not into astrology, start journaling, start
Yeah.
talking about how you're feeling and what you feel like you're repeating. It's gonna it's gonna heal itself when you start recognizing where those cycles are.
Yeah, I think identifying your feeling and what you're feeling, putting a name to it, and then it's like, okay, now I can, you have to name it first,
Yeah,
then you
it's
know
so
how to deal
super
with it.
important.
Hmm.
Yep,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I've,
Dude,
I've,
karmic cycles are really hard. I'm not good at them.
that's why you keep learning them.
Literally, it's why I keep learning these fucking lessons over and over. It's super stupid. I'm really over it. And I'm hoping that putting the name on it, Karmic Cycle, is
Mhm.
going to allow me to maybe stop that pattern. And I hope I gave somebody some kind of tools
I think
to
so.
get to them too. Jesus, so stressful.
I know. It's interesting. What's coming my way this year? Mwahaha.
Lots of growth. You
Yeah,
got
absolutely. Because we're very excited to meet our December 2025 selves.
I really am. It's
Yeah.
starting out kind of bumpy, but I have a really good feeling about it. And I said at the beginning of the year, I think something's going to happen that's going to be a new opportunity, but I don't know where it's going to come from. And I don't know what that's going to mean for me, but I know it's going to be out of left field.
Yeah.
And I'm in that karmic cycle where I could be going through a big career change. So I am ready for it. I'm hoping it's not a terrible lesson and I'm hoping it brings something good. I hope I've done the work.
Yeah. Be when the change comes along, you've done the work that you can accept it,
Right.
and
Right.
you're ready for like these cool things that come your way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well,
I
let's do
see
a
you.
3 card.
I
Let's do a
see you
three.
shuffling those cards.
Yeah. This is a good one. So I'm going to pull a past, present, future. Um, past, present, future, like 3 card draw.
Okay.
Because we are talking about karmic cycles and karmic years. So
Mhm.
let's go ahead and knock 3 times.
Three times.
All right. So we got the 3 of Wands in reversed, the 9 of Swords,
Mhm.
and the 4 of Swords. So let's talk about the 3 of Wands. Oh, yeah, this was reversed. Sorry. 3 of Wands. It looks like a desert landscape, doesn't it? Right up.
Mhm. Yeah, it does. I
Three
see
of
what you
Wands
mean.
reversed. So this is like, how did we get here? How did we get here? Obstacles, delays, and frustrations that have to do with karmic cycles repeating. These
Mm.
obstacles, these tests that I was talking about with each astrological sign,
Mhm.
that's what got you into this cycle. So the 3 of Wands reversed is about obstacles and a path that's stopped you.
Mm.
Next card is the Nine of Swords. It is upright, and that has to deal with like what forces are at work at present. And it has this is about anxiety. Everybody's anxious about the future. Everybody is anxious about what's happening in their life. Um, do you feel trapped in your life? Do you feel, ask yourself this, are you trapped because of your own anxiety to change? Ask yourself that in the present when you identify what your cycle is. What's the karmic lesson at this point? And then finally, Four of Swords, what's next? How are we going to move forward? You might start to feel a little burnout this year. You might start to feel a little bit like, fuck, how am I going to get through it? But you got to keep going. When you feel that burnout, understand that you don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to accomplish your goal right away. You can take a day off on your way to that goal. Do not allow life to defeat you in 2025. And that's for everybody.
Yes.
This is going to be a tough karmic cycle year. Do not allow life to defeat you. You're going to come up against challenges that are going to test your patience, test your anxiety, test your control over worrying about how to control the future. Don't do that. I say this so many times on this fucking podcast, take the next right step and don't worry about the one after that. Take the next right step. And that's how you're going to get through this karmic year. That's the reading.
That's the reading. Damn, Jackie.
I'm getting better at this. I'm getting so much better at reading the cards.
I feel like
and
you
they're
like
really
took me to church today.
Yes. I love that. I hope other people feel the same way. And if you guys felt like this is something that I absolutely am going through and you have questions, please, please, comments, concerns, whatever, send us a message, send us an email.
Yeah, check this out at blackandwhitefield.com.
Yeah,
We're waiting for you. Yes, you can leave a comment under our YouTube for our visual watchers. And you can also reach out to us on all social medias at whiskey-bent.spellbound on all social medias.
Yes. Oh, such a good poll. I love this. I love this topic so much because it's a really important thing for us to like grasp. And I can't believe that I haven't really learned about karmic cycles until my freaking 40s. But you know, better late than never is what I always say.
I just was like, there is no expiration date on what it is you learn when you learn it. You learn it when
Absolutely.
you're ready for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, whew, what a show.
What a show. Thank you so much, Jaki. So that is a wrap on another episode of Whiskey Bent and Spellbound. If you loved hanging out with us, because we love hanging out with you, don't forget to join our coven over on Patreon for just $3.95 a month plus tax. So it's way more fun over there, and you'll get exclusive content, bonus episodes, and behind the scenes tea. So, yes. And also, if you would love to leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform, we'd also really appreciate that as well. So, make sure you said where you could reach us. You could follow us on all of our social media, again, at whiskey-bent.spellbound on all platforms so you never miss an update, a meme, or a wild story.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much once again for listening to another fantastic and fabulous episode of Whiskey Bent and
Spellbound with Black
Whitefield.
Love you.
You.
Bye.
Bye.